A lawsuit alleging election fraud backed by several sworn affidavits was filed today in Detroit, Michigan. Our Matt Finn has the very latest for us tonight. Hey, Matt.
Tucker, that Detroit lawsuit contains several sworn affidavits from a few people that were inside the massive absentee ballot counting process in Detroit. They claim fraud. One of those affidavits comes from a Detroit employee who claims she saw so much illegal activity she had to speak out. A portion of that woman's affidavit reads in part, quote, "I was instructed not to look at any of the signatures on the absentee ballots, and I was instructed not to compare the signature on the absentee ballot with the signature on file. I was told to alter the information in the QVF, which is software, to falsely show that the absentee ballots had been received in time to be valid. I estimate this was done to thousands of ballots." Another sworn affidavit from a Republican voting challenger who was also a former assistant attorney general in Michigan. He claims that he observed election workers adjust names and numbers on ballots. Michigan Secretary of State tells us these claims are meritless, and a lead attorney for Detroit writes, quote, "This case is not based upon actual evidence of any election fraud or misconduct. It is based upon various conspiracy theories. This lawsuit is requesting all evidence, including computers and documents, to be preserved and for Detroit to stop certifying its vote." Tucker.
Matt Finn for us live tonight. Thanks so much, Matt. Victor Davis Hanson is one of the wisest people we ever speak to. He's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institute, and he joins us tonight. Professor, thanks so much for coming on. Where do you think we are right now? What's happening?
Well, I think you outlined sort of a tragic last Orwellian convergence of big data, big tech, big pollster, big money, administrative state. And what they did, Tucker, is they rendered the most hallowed date in American traditions, the first Tuesday in November, into an abstraction. It's a construct. Even the word absentee ballot doesn't mean anything anymore. It ceased to exist. And what did they replace it with? This new concept of early voting and mail-in balloting. We've never heard those words before. And what they mean is 30, 40, 45 days before the election, you can keep voting casually. You go in, vote. Maybe not any day. There's no one day you vote. Ballots can come in 1, 2, 3, 4 days after the polls maybe. And if the rules are too oppressive, you can sue and overturn the constitutional right of the legislators to set the voting laws. And what did we miss? It used to be the last 2 or 3 weeks were the heated time of the campaign. That's when you showed the mettle of the candidates. So what did it matter if Donald Trump had a really good second debate? What did it matter if we heard about Hunter Biden when millions of people had already voted? And what did they vote on? What were the perceptions? They were, as you said, they were massaged by polls. So their knowledge came, well, you know what, Wisconsin's 17 down and 12 down in the national polls, and Trump's favorability is 18 down, so it really wouldn't be wise to give money or to vote. It's over with. Exactly. And so we really abrogated, took away that responsibility of the citizen, and we outsourced it. And that wasn't enough because we took the personal element out of it. We used to go to the polls and somebody would say, Mrs. Smith, Mr. Jones, you didn't sign your date, got a date, remember that, here's your address. And we just turned it over to this pseudo-scientific group of people that said, we have computers, we're exact, we can poll to the exact decibel point. And we dumped all of these votes into these anonymous centers where there was no human contact, no transparency, no audit. And we expect them not to have 15% of the vote under the old absentee system, but 70, 80, 85% of the vote. And we expect them to get a result that's going to be accurate, audited, adjudicated. It can't happen. And then to add insult to injury, on election night, we have these same pseudo-scientific experts say, you know what, 2%, 10%, this state is over with. And this state over here is not over with. And they have nothing to do with reality, but they form a narrative, a theme. So in the case of last Tuesday night, why would you, if you were a Trump supporter, why would you object to what you thought was going on in Michigan and Pennsylvania when you were told that Barry Goldwater's state, the bastion of conservatism, was lost 20 minutes after the polls closed? Or that Texas and Florida can't even be called because Trump has been wiped out in his home base? That shapes perceptions even after the polls close. So the only mystery is what's behind all this? And I think it's a transition from a rugged individual who has to take a responsibility to know the issues, show up on election day unless he's working or she's sick, and then turning it into sort of an entitlement. You just lay back And whenever you contact a government agent, they're going to send you a registration form, and somebody's even going to harvest that and knock on the door and fill it out, and the polls are going to tell you who you should vote for because they're scientific and they have the authority of Twitter or Facebook or social media you use. And then to add final insult, with all that, and then you're going to be told you're going to be a winner or loser based on these perceived polls on election night and the analytics. And so to finish, Tucker, what we did was we took the prime element of citizenship, which is voting on election day that has to be approved and have some authority and sanctity, and we destroyed it. And without voting, you don't have citizenship. Without citizenship, you don't have a republic. So that's what's at stake. And when people like Gavin Newsom and Hillary Clinton say that this COVID virus and lockdown was an opportunity to transform things and a crisis never to go to waste, then we think maybe it wasn't accidental. Maybe it wasn't accidental. Maybe it wasn't just the way things had to be. And that's really scary.
It is scary. I don't want to reach that conclusion, but you can see how people would. Victor Davis Hanson, it's great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.